Welcome back. Thought I'd share my tall bike. I said I was going to, so I am. It's really nice weather out, so I figured why not set up my camera stuff outside real quick and do a couple shots, a couple videos. So I got this bike a long time ago. I had found it in a automotive junkyard, and just happened to like kind of see this part of it, and I didn't know, I can't remember, I don't think it had a seat on it at the time, but anyhow, so I got the bike from a junkyard, basically way out in the countryside, a little small junkyard with just older cars, not this newer junkyard car stuff. This is more like a collector of old cars that had a big yard in their back, and they're able to store old cars. And so anyway, walking through a field, I just happened to look over. There it was laying on the ground. It was as rusty as can be. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was some kind of like a bike or a moped or something. So I decided I'll go ask, see if the guy wants to sell it. Of course he wanted to sell it. It was laying in like a scrap pile of metal. So I'm like, well, how much? And then he gave me the price. I'm like, fair. Totally fair. So it was pretty much like, in somewhat of a way, got the bike for free-ish. I only paid like $5 or $10 for it, laying in the field. It did have some wheels on it. This had 20-inch wheels on it because it actually was a moped. So years went past. I didn't think to look too deep trying to find out what this was, because a lot of times I just like a bike for how cool it looks. I don't care about the brand. It's the same with cars. I don't care about the brand. It's this or that. It can be any brand of car, as long as it's something different and looks cool. Sometimes the same old thing, you know, I'm sure people in our lowrider culture, we see the same cars, meaning it's usually a Chevy Impala, and to me, I just seeing so many different ways of building that Chevy Impala, it kind of gets old to me. So I search for other cars out the box that might fit the lowrider car category, and tend to I like stuff like that. I like the outcasted stuff rather than the mainstream kind of, Chevy Impala. But so anyway, back to the bike here. So I was walking through the field, seeing the field, went and asked him, hey, how much is this thing? I'd like to buy it. And of course, yeah, he told me, I'll sell it to you for $5. I'm like, cool. So I ended up buying it, took it home. At the time we had a basement, so it just kind of sat down in the basement of where I was staying for like a few years, probably about 2-3 years. It just sat down there, didn't think about it. I only paid a couple bucks for it, so it wasn't like, it seems like sometimes when you pay something for something you really want, you'll start on it quicker. So this thing didn't get started on right away. It just kind of sat in a basement, just sat down there for long. And then finally one day I decided, okay, I'll get it out and see what can I do with this? What can I make this look like? Mainly bought it because the crank is dropped down off the frame. So I kind of knew that I might be able to make a tall bike out of this, because the chain would be out of the way of the rear here. Like a lot of times when you're trying to build something like this, a double stack or something, sometimes the chainstay here will be in the way of the chain. Plus, I didn't want to build something like ordinary tall bike. A lot of guys, they just one 27-inch frame on top of another 27-inch frame road bike, kind of, you know, or 26-inch mountain bike. Steel, of course, because you need to be able to hack and cut and chop some stuff if you need to. So I didn't want the normal tall double stack bike. I wanted to come up with something else. So luckily, brainstorming it, thinking about it, what can I do? What I come up with was, so the forks on this thing would actually had springs in it, and they would, if you undid them, the bottom part would come out. So basically, I took the bottom part, the springy part, out that holds the front wheel, and then all I did was found some fence poles, because I'm not a very heavy person, and I knew maybe I can get up on something like this without it buckling, because mind you, these are fence poles. I don't weigh much, you know. I can't have somebody get on this thing that weighs much more than me. They might break it, damage it. You know, kaputs, it won't be kaputs forever because it's steel. You can fix anything that's steel. Yeah, so I just took the fence poles and kind of cut them a little bit up here at the top, and then kind of opened them so that they could fit, like slide up on the fork, the existing fork. And then I took the bottom parts that hold the wheel and slid them up in. I did some welding on this thing a little bit. Horrible job, and I'll show you in just a second. But it's, yeah, I didn't do very good. It's just a real quick, get the electric welder out, you know, throw it together real quick so I could get it out and ride it. So I finished it up, figured out how to get these fence poles to work, and I did ride it a lot, often, quite a few, several times. It kind of like I'll have it for a year or something, get it out, ride a little bit, have a little fun with it, and then just put it away and don't even think about it. So it's been just kind of put away and haven't even thought about it. I ended up finding some fenders from like a middleweight beach cruiser and put them on here, but they were maroon, so that look wasn't appealing to me with how I made the bike. This is its third paint job, by the way. It started out being raw metal, like I just kind of had it raw metal, so I kind of consider that the first paint job, which that's not even really a paint job. It was just like a raw, ugly, rusty looking-ish metal whole thing. And then I didn't really, like, I like the patinaed look, but it has to be, like, really well cared for, not just nasty looking patina, garbagey look. Like, it has to look a certain patina. So I wasn't happy with that. It looked more like a garbage bike than it did, you know, anything. So I ended up taking the, sanding it real good, and then I painted it all black, gloss black, the next time. And then it was like that for a couple years, and then I ended up, since it was already gloss black, I ended up just spraying over like a chameleon base, like a clear coat chameleon over the black. So of course that turns it into kind of it was more like a real deep chameleon. You'd have to look at it in the sunlight a certain way, and then you could see the chameleon kind of changing colors. And it was like that for like a few years, another few years, and then I just ended up like, I need to do something make it a little, just change it up. I like to change up the color on this thing. I'll probably, like, I'm ready to paint it again, but I'm going to leave it like this for now because it looks so decent this time that I painted it. I actually had just recently took the fenders off the front and the back, and finally got around to painting the maroon fenders because it looked so tacky with the maroon fenders on this. Painted them black with kind of like a texture Again, we'll up and close, and I'll kind of just show you. There's not too much about this bike. When I get out on it, one thing is, like, depending what kind of mood I'm in to ride this thing too, because as soon as I get this thing out, and I can only go like a couple houses from where I live, just saying, people all over it, like as soon as I'm out, the people are all over this bike. Like, out of all my bikes, this bike is probably the most favored of all my people. Like, yeah, that's crazy. This was even once a three-wheeler for a little while. I had a three-wheel rear end on it, and then just was like, it's too heavy for all that. Like, trying to like take it on the bike trail and start even just a slight hill. It's hard. Again, electric stuff wasn't really out yet. So if electric stuff would have been out like it is now, which I'm this close to thinking about doing like a rear hub wheel motor kit kind of thing with a battery, a small kind of battery, nothing that goes real fast, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm kind of on the edge. We'll see, maybe in the next few years, and no rush to do that. I really don't have any money in this thing, folks, fellas, ladies. This is like, what you see is just my brain and free. I may have changed an inner tube. These tires are a little bit old, even though they probably look fair. They're kind of old. So eventually here soon I'll need some new tires, inner tubes. I do want to change the handle grips, because these are just kind of, they're from like a kid's bike, and I didn't want to buy anything for this. I do got something for it. I got some Vans grips that I'm going to change at least that on it. I still need to find a top bolt here for the front fork here. The headset, I'm missing the very top bolt thing right there. I found these bars right here in just laying around like a parts bin kind of bars, because the original bars I had for this, I have had falls on this thing, and the original bars that I liked a lot on here, I damaged them, bent them, and really they weren't able to be fixed. So I was like super depressed about that for a while, and the bike just sit. I didn't ride it at all. But then I found these bars, and that made, every now and again I'll find something a little extra to do to it, and then I'll kind of be back into it for a little while. Again, I get on this thing, and it's like a demand for attention. Like, anywhere I go, everybody, man, woman, child, everybody's always like, oh my gosh. What else I had to do to make this work? I needed a seat. There is no like seat posts on this thing, because it really actually was a moped. So I welded a seat on here, an old twin seat saddle. That worked out just fine. And there's still a few things I gotta do to it. Like, there's a couple rattly things on here, just a couple little bolts I need to get off. Most of all the rattly noise. This thing's actually pretty quiet. Besides for the couple little rattly things, I need to get my little cutting wheel off and just cut that stuff off of there so it's not making that extra noise. Enough of the chit chat on the tall bike. Let me jump up here, and we'll pull the camera up close and do an up and close real quick. Alright, here we go. Let's up and close. I always like to start out with that. So it's like a 52 right there. That's a really cool chainring I found that was just scrap laying around. I put like a mini baseball bat with a baseball on there. But yeah, single speed with the coaster brake, that long chain. I got some decent, I call these my safety pedals, because if I fall, I'm not going to like really mess myself up if that goes into me. That's why I picked them. handlebars, real cool. I like the bend on them. I'm gonna change these grips because they're so horrible. Yeah, I've had, there was an accident right there. I've had some scrapes. Yeah, I just kind of welded the fork. My welds are horrible. You don't have to tell me about it. I just got these fenders done. I think they look pretty good. I just got the fenders rigged on there kind of thing just to be able to ride it. You got to be creative to make this stuff work. There's no directions or book or anything to help you put this together. So anyway, yep, that's the bike. Let's see what else. The up and close here. So where the wheel used to be, I just kind of put the fence poles up here. I made clamps just to make sure, extra safe. I did weld it. Not very good, but I did put something on there to keep me somewhat safe. But yeah, I just gotta get a top cap for right there, and I'm gonna change my grips, and then honestly, like, that's it. I'm not finna do much any else with this thing. It's just a kind of, that's what it is. So anyhow, ladies, gents, glad you stopped by the channel. You're more than welcome to check out other videos on my channel. Go back and check out other stuff that I got going on, whatever. But yep, day's pretty nice. I have some work to do, so I'm gonna do a couple pictures with this while it's out here. I got it out, it's nice and clean. Again, I may eventually paint this thing. I haven't decided yet. I think it's looking pretty good for like it is for now, but I think I might end up trying to paint that dude here soon. So if you like my crazy curation tall bike, do give me a thumbs up. I try. Alright folks, see you in the next one.